my name is Camille Nichols. My husband is Bill Burns. He's been a cab driver for, I think, 36 years. We've been together for 37 years. And it has been a struggle over the years sometimes. Sometimes he comes home very tired, um, physically tired, sometimes mentally and spiritually tired. Maybe it was a bad day. He wasn't able to make as much money as possible. It was slow out there. Um, but since we're close, he always tells me stories about the different passengers he's had in his cab, which really makes for a very interesting conversation. I've told him more than once over the years that it would be nice maybe to write a book because he's had some very interesting people in his cab. He's had famous people and just the normal everyday working person. And he finds that working people are much more talkative, intelligent. Um, they also tip as opposed to, I would say, a certain class of person, upper class, that they don't really tip very well. Working people appreciate other working people, so they seem to tip really well. Um, he's had, like I said, he's had famous people in his cab. He's had Billie Jean King in his cab. He's had a couple of baseball players in his cab. He had Oprah in his cab one day, Oprah Winfrey, and so he's managed to talk to all kinds of people, all races, all classes, and he's very good at talking to people. Sometimes they get in his cab and he can tell when something's bothering him and he may start talking or they'll start talking to him. It's kind of like being a bartender. They'll talk to him because they figure they won't see him again and so they can pour out everything, all their frustrations of the day or whatever, or something that's personally happening to them. So, and he's a very good listener. So he's able to get them to talk about a lot of different things. So he finds out a lot. Um, Cab driving can be rough. It has to do with respect. People make jokes about cab drivers and they don't respect them. Sometimes I think that people don't think they're human, but it's a lot of work. He works long hours, um, sometimes 6, sometimes 7 days a week. When our daughter was growing up in school, he worked 7 days a week. So he wasn't always around for some of her activities. I'm the one that had to be there because he's working. And it can be very frustrating, very tiring. There's a physical toll that happens with some cab drivers. I won't go into specifics, but it can affect all your body systems. And there's also a emotional toll that it can take at times. And it's very up and down. Some days are good as far as money goes. Some days are not. Usually the colder months are better. In spring, late spring, summer, it's harder because it's warmer and people are out and they prefer to walk. And so you have to work harder for your money. Um, Sometimes he wasn't around or he was too tired to maybe go to an event with me or to go out and have some fun. He's just too tired. And so I understand, but there were times when, it took a toll on me too. I didn't like it. I had to take care of him, and sometimes I would want to just do something fun with just the two of us, and he was just too tired um, and too frustrated, and all he could talk about was what's happening with the cab business, and I kind of don't always want to talk about that all the time. Um, so it can be very frustrating. Um, this seems to be the first organization that he's had that has actually seemed to work that's continuing. He tried to organize cab drivers once before, several years ago, and it didn't work. And I think it has to do with the nature of cab driving. It's very transient. Guys are in and out. They're working all the time. And so it's very hard to get guys, even now sometimes, to commit time to help out with the organization. But hopefully, gradually, that will change, and there'll be more and more. This event we're having today is very nice, and hopefully, next year and the year after that, it'll be bigger and better, and we'll have a really big turnout, and that would be really good. Let's see. Um, I just have a lot of respect and appreciation for what he's done over the years and that he's managed to stick with cab driving. He likes it because it's not a regular 9 to 5 job. You get money in your hand every day. You don't have to answer to a boss. Um, but on the other hand, it's hard work. It's just very hard work. And if there's anything that I can get across to people, is how hard cab drivers work and what they have to go through, the kind of abuse sometimes they have to take both from the city government and from passengers, and that when you get in a cab, you want the cab driver to take you someplace fast, but yet if you're in your own car and you see a cab driver moving, you want to talk about him and get on his case about how he's driving until the next day when you have to get in that cab to go somewhere because you're late for an appointment. Then it's okay if he drives fast in and out of traffic. So the public sometimes can be very hypocritical and fickle, and so you have to realize that working people, cab drivers, waitresses, bank tellers, um, anybody that has to work for a living, doormen at a hotel, these are all very hard jobs because you have to deal with the public and you have to be pleasant while you're doing it. Even though you may not feel pleasant, you may not physically feel good, or you may be frustrated because of something that's happening in your personal life or something about the job itself. Um, so cab drivers need to have a lot of respect, and anytime they ask for more money, they deserve to get it because they work very hard for it. Um, let's see if there's anything else I want to say. I think that's probably it for right now. Thank you.